the Toyota Tacoma SR5 Experience. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Robmotive. That's right, let's talk about the Toyota Tacoma SR5 Experience. You know, I got this truck recently. It's a 2021. I didn't want to wait for the 2022 because, frankly, I didn't get any good information as to when one would actually be available. Sounds like it's going to be sometime in the first quarter next year. Now, I know there's people out there who say they've ordered them. They're supposed to be here this year. That kind of depends on the region of the country you are in. I am in deep South Texas. Things happen a little bit slower down here. So I didn't want to wait that long. I went ahead and picked up the 2021. So how is the experience? Well, first of all, I've got to say this is an automatic. And I had the manual TRD off-road. So I find myself trying to shift gears. I don't know what to do with my left foot. You know, I did notice there is a dead pedal over there, a place to store your left foot when you're driving around, and that's kind of handy. You know, obviously I didn't have that in my TRD off-road because there was this thing called a clutch over there. That was where you would store your foot. Now, never a good idea to store your foot there because you don't want to be riding the clutch. But nonetheless, I would keep my foot off to the left, kind of in a dead zone, wide open space, nowhere to put it. It's much more comfortable with a place to put my foot when I'm not trying to shift gears that aren't there. As far as the height goes, you know, my TRD off-road, it was lifted. It was a 3.2 lift. It actually ended up being 3.5 inches in the front. Now, when you take that and you add the taller tires, you know, I ended up somewhere about 4.5 inches, something like that, in height raise, if you will, of that Tacoma. It makes a big difference. You know, when I go into this thing, I find I'm trying to step on the step to kind of hoist myself up in the air like I had to do with my lifted TRD off-road. I have to be careful because I have a garage lift, and obviously I park under it, if you didn't know, and it's right above me. So if I lift myself too high, I'm going to be slamming my head into my garage lift. I don't want to be doing that. So it's a little bit different. It's a different entry into this truck. More comfortable, I have to say. Although I find it more cumbersome because now I'm kind of diving into that, into this truck rather, as opposed to stepping up and swiveling over. Much better for the seats. I'm not scraping across the seat when I get in like I did in my other truck. But still, it's a different motion, something to get used to. The power, you know, in that truck, I had the sprint booster installed, so I had more acceleration, no lag. Well, I have that in this truck, although I gotta say, the experience in this truck has been pretty satisfying. Whatever Toyota has done to zhuzh up the gears, you know, everybody was complaining about gear hunting and it holding the gears too long. So Toyota had a flash out there, a software upgrade, whatever you want to call it. And I gotta say, it seems pretty good to me. It's pretty quick off the line, still does have a bit of a lag. We'll be taking care of that soon. But much more fun to drive than my 2018 was. I would even rank this truck just a bit behind the Jeep Gladiator. And if you watch my other channel, Robmotive JT, then you know I really like the Jeep Gladiator. So that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. Handling and stuff, yeah, it's better for me as comparing it to my lifted truck because it had the bigger, meatier tires, sat up in the air a bit more. This thing just seems to be a bit more nimble on the road. It's not hauling around all that weight. I mean, when you add all the weight of the bigger tires, the sport bar I had on the back, some other things I had on the truck, starts to weigh it down a little bit. You feel that when you're driving around. Now, there's a great big elephant in the room, and well, there's two actually. First is fuel economy. Gotta say, this is getting much, well, it's getting better. I don't know if it's much better, but almost. It's at 19.9 miles per gallon. If I was out cruising around a little bit longer, I would probably be in the 20s, at least at 20. The other truck, I couldn't get above 16.9, 17.4, somewhere in there. So I've crossed the 20 threshold line, I think, and that is a good feeling. It feels like I'm doing something good for the environment. I'm burning less gasoline. And then the biggest thing, ride quality. Lifted trucks with bigger wheels and tires, I don't care what anybody says, suck when it comes to ride quality as compared to stock or OEM. This thing, while it's not, you know, Cadillac smooth or Lexus grade ride, it is much better. It's just a smoother feel. It doesn't hit the bumps like it did before. You know, when you put on a new suspension or when you lift the truck, especially if you're doing a block and spacer, you're taking up some of the suspension to do that, right? When you put a block back there underneath the leaf springs, kind of pushing the leaf springs up a little bit, flatten them out a little. It's making them a little bit more firm than it was before. In the front, when you put that spacer in the springs, when you kind of compact the spring a little bit, you're making it a little bit firmer. You don't have that, obviously, in a non-lifted truck. Now, does that mean that I'm going to leave it stock? I'm not going to lift it? Well, heck no. Because you see, for me, the aesthetics of having a lifted truck far outweigh the comfort of that truck to a degree. I mean, if the truck became something that was horrendous to drive, well then no, I probably wouldn't do it. I would do other things like maybe just bigger tires, something like that. But you do have to have room to fit those tires in the front. So it's really a double-edged sword, right? You kind of have to do it one way or the other if you're going to go with the bigger tires. And that is my plan for this truck. This truck will be lifted. I'm looking at different lifts. I want to go with something different than what I had on my other truck. Trying to get a better ride quality. It did improve when I went to what I call my hybrid lift in the end, but it was still pretty darn firm. That's the experience of the SR5. Looks-wise, that's one last thing I have to mention because I noticed this right away. The front end. The front end looks so basic to me with the grille that they have in the SR5. Definitely something that I'm going to change. Probably going to put a Pro Grill or something in there, the insert, as opposed to the whole surround. So that'll be something a little bit different than I've done in the past. In the past, I've put the whole the whole thing on, you know, the painted surround with the insert. We'll be doing a little surgery and taking that grill apart, putting it in the front. At least that's my thinking at the moment. I do like the honeycomb grill that comes stock on the higher trim levels, so that's a possibility as well. But definitely have to change that. It looks so pathetic in the front. And it's funny because when I see them going down the road, other people's trucks, you know, and then I think, man, I'm driving the same thing. What? So anyway, we're going to take care of that too. So that's the SR5 experience for me so far. Love the truck. No regrets at all. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Leave a comment. Let me know. If you've got an SR5, what do you think of it? Also, real quick, I do have 2 additional channels. Robmotive FST, all about my 2021 Toyota Tundra. And Robmotive JT, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.